Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, Dr. Wayne Pernell. I'll be your host, your guide, and your coach on this journey. Today, I have with me Matt Schalsey. He's the CEO and founder of Perfect Hire. It's an amazing organization, and his journey, his route to get here as the CEO and founder, is very interesting and exciting. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to have him on the show. Matt, welcome to One Sharp Sword.
Hey, thanks, Wayne, for having me.
Yeah,
Glad
a
to be here.
pleasure. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's great. Let's talk. You didn't wake up one day. Well, you probably did at one day and went, this is it. I've gotta make a change. But you didn't start, at 7 years old, you didn't go, I'm gonna run like a recruiting platform. That's what I'm gonna do. Like you didn't when you were a kid, you didn't know.
No, ironically, I wanted to be a taxi cab driver, if you ask my parents. So that was my ambitions at 7 years old.
That's that's awesome. That's awesome. So at seven, you wanted to be well in service, so that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so what was your path, right? I have some notes. You have always been in the people biz.
Yeah.
Um, and y- you had a series of steps, and I was just looking at my notes where you got this sign that now is the time to create the perfect hire. Before we get to what that sign was,
Yeah.
let's talk about your journey a little bit. Talk about your college, like what did you study? And then talk about some of the jobs you had along the way. And the reason I like to do that with my guests is because very often it's polar, right? So
hmm
either people know what they want, they knew what they wanted to do early on, and they knew every step of the way, like, I'm building this and I'm building into this and I'm building into this, or they found that their what they thought they wanted to do, or what all the shoulds and the supposed tos, once they got those out of the way, they actually landed in something that they really love, which is more like their purpose. So I have a feeling yours was more like the second.
Well, let's just say if you're going back to the college days, yeah, I've had such an interesting journey, I feel is when I graduated high school, I got accepted into the University of Nebraska athletic training program. So very, athletic medicine, super awesome. It was something that I was doing in high school for all 4 years as well too. So really, really good experiences. So athletic medicine in with the sports. I did, women's soccer, men's basketball, volleyball, and was doing all of that. Well, I just did not like the biology class that I was in. And so I was like, all right, we're done with this, I think. So I started dabbling in some business classes and quickly realized I hate finance. And so I kind of started dabbling into some communication classes. Well, as you could imagine, being shiny object syndrome and not liking some stuff, I also loved the good old college party scene to let loose a little bit and eventually got released from the university. So I went to a community college, got everything ready to go. I have basically one college credit that I need to get in order to obtain a degree. And for me, at that point in time, I just was like, you know what? I am satisfied with where I'm at and how I'm going, where my life is at. And so then I took a pause, did some retail work, and then I decided I was going to go back and did some nursing. So I got a job as a burn technician in a burn ICU here in Nebraska. Started going to nursing school, moved out to a different city, much smaller than where I was at then. And I wasn't quite getting the hours that I wanted within the nursing area. So I switched over back to retail at Verizon, where I was making a ton more money, ton more hours, and I quickly got promoted very, very quickly there. So I dropped out of nursing school, took Verizon full time, ended up becoming an assistant store manager there, moved back to Lincoln, to the city that I was at, and that's where I started out as a sales rep, moved myself up into a store manager position, moved myself up to a second store manager. And then I was the only store manager within our district that was able to manage three stores at one given time, then district managing, then training. And then I was like, listen, I love my nights and weekends. I have hustled this out. I am going to switch paces. And I went into TV marketing and still did the marketing plus sales throughout that. And it taught me a lot. Um, I wasn't quite getting the commission checks that I was wanting. In fact, I was actually struggling probably pretty hard there. But there was a lot of opportunity around how do we influence these companies to make the most out of their budgets with the little of resources that they have, and how do we optimize that in a public view. So we did that. Then I transitioned into a marketing agency as I like found my passion and love for exploring company brands and bringing their fruition to life. And it wasn't until I got laid off from the marketing agency that I started my journey with an enablement. And I worked for a local company here in Nebraska, around their enablement function. And that literally was the aha moment for me in my career. That was like, this is really what I wanted to do, is sales, service, and really have like the business elements and influence that I was able to make as an enabler. And so,
So let me
yeah,
pause for a
that's a
second
lot
because
right there. Yeah, go for it.
it's a long history, right? And it's great because you uncovered certain things and I will often talk about, find the thing that you love.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will start with, well, I don't know what that is yet.
Hmm.
And so it's like, well, try a bunch of things and you'll find things you don't love. And then you quarantine those things, and then the world is still wide open to you. You just know it's not those. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of what you did. Now, being a burn tech is a far cry from what you're doing now. It also
100%.
takes it also takes something really special to be dealing with people who have undergone some pretty serious trauma
Hmm.
for you to step in and do that kind of work. So I wanted to acknowledge that.
Appreciate
And then I wanted to jump to, you use the word enablement.
it.
Now,
Yeah.
in some areas, that's a terrible word. In other areas, that's a great word. And I would love for you to bring clarity to how you're using it. I went into the enablement area. It's like,
Yeah.
which is what specifically?
Yeah. So it's funny. I always tell my mom, like when I told her I was an enablement, I was like, like a drug pusher, somebody that's enabling you to do the bad stuff. I was like,
Exactly.
but I'm the good one that makes you do the good stuff. So we always joked about that. But when it came down to enablement, right, it was more of my philosophy of giving reps the experience and the training and the materials that they needed to be successful in.
So
And
this is management? When you say enablement, I'm still sort of floating out here going where, like you've landed in an organization or you're,
yep. So I landed in an organization. So the journey of enablement, right? Think of the classic sales trainer. Had the
okay,
briefcase, the flip charts, and
got
all of
you.
the big markers, right? That evolved into enablement, where a lot of these SaaS companies that they didn't want to just label it as sales trainer because that just pivoted and pigeonholed those individuals into a certain area. So when it came down to the enablement side, right, it was also products, some product marketing. It was how do we work with the marketing teams? How do we integrate with finance, HR, all of that to really give the sales or go-to-market functions everything that they needed in order to be successful. So
Hang
it was
on.
kind of a
That was the
all-encompassing
piece.
mark.
That was the piece. It was right that you. So I think of management as the enablement officers, like a manager is the enablement officer for
Yeah.
his or her team. The leader is the one that's out there saying, here's where we're headed, this is the strategy. and the manager goes, I understand the strategy. This is what I want to do. And the job then for anyone in management is to reduce friction.
Yeah,
You did that uh, in software as a service, SaaS,
correct.
right? So what I like to do on the podcast is anytime I hear sort of a an industry jargon term, it's like just let's define it,
Let's
right?
do it. Yeah. All right. Perfect.
So people may know or may not know what SaaS is, software as a service, which encompasses like anything that helps any internal process flow.
Right.
You also then did training. You also then did marketing.
Yep.
And so really because defining enablement officer is like that's not a typical title that one hears, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming more and more frequent, to be honest, within the tech industry. I would say in traditional workforces, you're not seeing that as much.
Yeah. So we're defining it.
We're
That's awesome.
defining it. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, so this is great. So were you with was it Verizon? Were you with Verizon when you were doing all this stuff?
So I started part of the training stuff while I was at Verizon, which that really did bring me a lot of joy. But it wasn't until I fast forwarded through, the TV station, the TVD marketing and TV station, the marketing agency, and got into my first tech role here in Nebraska at Huddle. So
Okay.
enablement was the start, or at Huddle was the start of my enablement career
Okay.
where I built that up and worked with various teams across the globe to really help support their functionality, and then went on to other tech companies across the country and did the same thing at those industries. So anywhere from onboarding or product launches or development and marketing as well.
So that is quite the package, right? So
Right.
it's right. So everything from onboarding to marketing to product support to like uh that's like operations.
100%, 100%.
Awesome.
We worked a lot with defining processes. How do we coach to these processes? How do we optimize processes? Right. And it wasn't just with the sales motion, it was also with product. How do we get product launches out more effectively? How do we do marketing campaigns to where we can have sales support marketing instead of that oil and water friction of marketing and sales, right? How do we blend the two of, sugar and water?
That's
Uh,
perfect.
so yeah, there was a lot that went into it, and uh, yeah, it's just a master of craft and be able to really pivot and be agile as you're, working on various different projects and initiatives throughout the company.
So this is huge because not that many people get to do all of those things or have had that much experience doing those kinds of things. You found success doing that,
Yeah,
you know, and the first part of your career was not unusual in that there was a little bit of career hopping. You
of
know,
course.
you um you did college hopping, then career hopping, and you've landed in your passion. Then what? Because it was that shift somewhere that brought you to a place of going, you know what? I'm just gonna start my own biz. So
Yeah.
what happened?
So with my hyper focus in my enablement roles with onboarding and bringing on new talent, there started becoming more of a glaring light that were we actually hiring the right people? Were we asking the right interview questions? Did the process actually fail me and getting another bad hire through my onboarding class? And this wasn't at just one company, this was at a couple of companies, and it started bubbling up a lot at my last one where I really identified that there was a huge gap in the questions that were being asked, the process that actually happened, and the entire recruiting experience was just basically uncanny, right? The real big trigger for me was when I had my recruiting team at my last company get an individual that actually somehow bypassed all of the questions, landed onto my team, and became one of the biggest HR nightmares in the world. And when I say HR nightmares, I mean if you could tick a box of why somebody should leave, this guy was pretty much it, excluding violence, right? So that's where this really started bubbling up is we've got to ask better questions. We've got to be able to identify these questions and be able to identify who is the right fit for these companies. And so that's really what my whole, Perfect Hire started out as is AI generative questions for interviews that matches the candidate's experience to the resume and core values of a company. And as we were getting into that and developing it, I went to a workshop and the guy was like, listen, that's it. I can use ChatGPT to give me that answer. It's like, it's got to be more. You got to find more. And that's where we decided to build out this entire AI infused and automated applicant tracking system, or if you're in the HR world, an ATS. Think of it as like um, basically like a POS system, a point of sale system, or a CRM that really tracks your candidates as they're moving through the pipeline. And when we were evaluating this, I brought on one of my co-founders who is a recruiter, and I was like, tell me every friction point you have in recruiting in somebody. And he's like, I spend 35% of my time filling out and getting schedules done to get the next candidate into an interview. I spend the next 20% of my time really identifying, is this person even qualified? And I have to send those out for further review. Then I also have an additional process where the candidate gets stalled because they're not replying or I'm not getting feedback forms in time for my managers. And when we documented all of that, I was like, all of this can be solved by a simple automation and like simple clicks. And that's where we started building out our foundational platform, which is our ATS Plus, which it basically infuses the simplistic steps to optimize your hiring cycles by using AI, automations, and just a simpler UI UX. I mean, that's really what I would say is the stark difference here is it's autonomous. It like opens up a whole world for recruiters to basically optimize their workflows from start to finish.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've worked in HR. I was the HR director for the NORPAC region of Whole Foods way before Amazon ever stepped in. Um, and I know, I know. Also with the consulting I've done, being attached to HR along the way as well. It's amazing. The
Yeah.
application onboarding process is a thing, and really ensuring and reassuring the company that you're getting the right hire. That's a thing because not getting the right hire is super expensive. It's about 1.5 times the cost of the employee's salary. So
Yeah.
that kind of turnover adds up in any size organization. The ATS, the applicant tracking system, is that it's proprietary to Perfect Hire. You,
So the one that we have built, yes, completely proprietary to Perfect Hire. The ATS Plus or Applicant Tracking System Plus is completely proprietary with the way that we have orchestrated the workflow is very similar to every recruiter's workflow um, that they should be used to in their traditional systems that they've used. I would say the biggest difference is our system allows you to customize your workflows. So instead of putting your square in a circle hole, right? Our system is actually working for you instead of you working for the system. And so again, we're optimizing how recruiters can actually produce direct analytics and direct results by optimizing their own workflows without compromising how a candidate actually gets through the system here. So, for example, your interview process is significantly different for a specialist role than it would be for a C-suite executive. So you would have those different type of interview paths, different questions, different projects, different amount of interviews. We cater to all of that to make sure that that candidate has the most optimal chance to make sure that they are the perfect hire when they come on board to your company.
that's That is well said. Uh,
Not
the,
rehearsed at all.
the the fact that you've systematized a messy and otherwise messy process, even the best processes have little pieces of mess along the way, and you've systematized it. You've
Yeah.
allowed for this is when the open slots are. This is, that's great. Who are your primary targets? Who are you working with? Is it mostly recruiters or is it larger companies that have HR internal? How does that work for you?
Yeah, so we're hyper focused right now on the frontline worker industry. So think about any of those that are doing shift work. So whether it's healthcare or food service or retail or, if it's construction or whatever it is, right? Anything that's shift work is where we're focusing on. Companies that have about 5,000 employees or less, we're typically working with recruiters on the teams or heads of HR or talent to really streamline and optimize their workflows to find inefficiencies in their hiring process, whether or not they have the right team members on the right sides of teams or shifts. We also have a secondary product called Conduit that outlines and optimizes the best people for the best shift and the best team members that work together to maximize productivity, to really find that perfect fit that you're looking for at every single shift.
That's great. That's great. I just reflecting on where I was in HR and reflecting on, my wife is actually currently in a director's role, CHRO, right? So Chief
Yeah.
Human Resources Officer's role, um, in HR. So I am still following the HR path, and it's very interesting because it's so essential, right? The idea of human resources being human resources. Like a company won't run without good people, and getting them in place is a huge piece of that. Let me digress or move off of this for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's that was a really great infomercial. I want to go back to kind of the personal pieces along the way as
Yeah.
well. So, Matt, the leadership lessons, like the tough places along the way for you, for most people, right? When you reach this crunch point of, dang, this is good, but it's like I ache for more. That's where
Right.
most people make their shift. It's either I ache for more or I'm in such pain that I can't live this way anymore, right? So it's the moving away from pain or moving towards something that your ambition grew, and you see it in front of you. So your early start was like that. It was like, nah, college, it's good, it's fine, it's what's next. There's more. I know there's more. Um, and I think what's beautiful about this, about you, is that once you found your passion, it's like this is the more. And even within perfect hire, it's like there's more. Like you can grow
Mhm.
this even bigger. So it's not like, oh, I did a lot of hopping early on and perfect hire is good for now, but we'll see what's next. It's like perfect hire allows you, because now it's yours. It allows you to expand as big as you want.
You know you are bigger than the life you are leading. It really is time to attend to that thing you've wanted to do or have, but you've been putting off. It's time to step into that dream you've parked for someday. It's time to claim true well-being, both personally and professionally, without giving up the success that got you here. It's time to check out Dr. Pernell's signature small group retreat, the Exponential Success Summit. Explore exponentialsuccesssummit.com. Seats are extremely limited as this is a very special small group event. www.exponentialsuccesssummit.com.
Let me go back to my question. Where do you think along the way were, two or three of the biggest leadership lessons that you learned that you really you're like, darn it, I didn't want this one, but I guess I needed it?
Yeah. Um, so early on in my career, I was quickly told by a friend that I had authority issues. And
You?
yeah, right? And for me, I was like, well, F you. Like, no. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, this is a mentor. This is somebody that's got years
Spoken
of
like a
experience.
good adolescent. No.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Um, and I think that has probably been one of the most eye-opening experiences and lessons that I learned along the way in this leadership journey was like authority has a place in every single which way or form, right? It doesn't matter whether it's in the home, whether it's at work, whether it's in, the community. There's authority everywhere, and we have to have the decency to be able to respect it and to be able to continue to drive it all forward and live kind of within the hierarchy that you are positioned in within that. And when it came down for me to understand that motion, it was simply I need to listen. I need to react positively, or at least not negatively, I should say, um, or not at all. And I need to be able to adjust my outcomes, my deliverables, and the way that I present and how I actually do things. And so that was like the biggest lesson that I ever had. The second one was,
Hang on.
oh,
Wait,
okay.
before you go to the second one. Um, so you said listen, react positively, and adjust your deliverables. I want to change the word react positively. I want to just reframe that a minute, because as a leadership lesson, I think it's really important that a lot of leaders and a lot of team members live in this place of reactive
Mhm.
engagement. And that's not actually healthy. A reaction is basically you your amygdala saying this is right or this isn't right, and you get fight, flight, and fawn, right? So it's like the
Right.
people that lean in and just try and make everything okay. Um, and and so the idea is, at least, right, the idea that I would like to bring is that we move from reaction to responsive, right?
Yeah, and that's
Right? How do you choose to then respond?
that's probably the better way to say it. Yeah, I was definitely responding very negatively to any sort of criticism or critiques when I was doing it. So yeah, react probably isn't the right way, but yeah, respond is very
Well,
much aligned.
yeah, you were reacting and you learned to respond, I think is the key along the way. You learn to listen, you learn to respond by being in control. Like
Yeah.
you can be in authority in your own life
Hmm.
by taking ownership, really, of your conscious thought
Yeah.
and overlaying that onto subconscious reactive thought. Okay, number two, go.
Number two, I think it was for me. This one came later. So coming out as gay, I think never really had like a social or mental implication for me ever until probably later on in my career, where I kind of had this mindset of myself of like being like in the closet still as a corporate professional, but yet like in the sense of like I want to be expressive in who I am, and I don't need to hide. I want to be my true authentic self. And I think for me, the lesson that I learned here was one, be your true authentic self, be who you're supposed to be. And if people don't like it, you need to learn to let go. I was so hyper focused on people pleasing and making sure that everybody did love me and everybody did like me and I could be everybody's best friend. I didn't have to be everybody's best friend. I just had to make sure that we could get stuff done together and make sure that we were able to collaborate, cooperate, listen to each other, and basically be able to produce the outcomes that were asked of us by the company. And so for me, it was kind of on it was like a twofold, right? Be your true authentic self while also managing the relationships that you have in a healthy, positive way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great for everyone. And it also puts you in a position to highlight that for your hires, right?
Exactly.
If someone comes in going, well, who am I supposed to be for this job? Who do they want me to be? You're not getting the true person. And you may actually want that person to be themselves to know if it's a cultural fit.
And I think people like push parts of themselves down to fit into a cultural mold. And the one thing that I will tell you, when I was able to be my true self, I was able to really, really produce some serious good shit like out in the world, right? Like
Mm.
I was at the top of my game. I was giving out world-class, documentation and trainings and stuff like that, being, recognized for being a thought leader in the industry and really driving up some good results. And it wasn't until I gave myself that permission to be me, that I didn't start to see any of that happen. And
It's
so
incredible.
be
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Be yourself I mean, you hear it all the time and it's like, well, what does that mean? And it's for you, it's not like, well, I have this gay agenda and everybody needs to know. It's more like
Absolutely.
you gave yourself permission to not hide.
Yep.
Not hiding a piece of yourself meant that you got to be free in expressing pretty much everything else.
100%.
And right, so I think that's a key because I think each of us along the way, we've sort of held back in different areas.
Yeah.
And it's not about orientation or whatever. It's more about this worthiness piece that,
Hmm.
and I work with high achievers. I work with really big high performers. And even there's sort of like, uh, I don't know. I don't know if people would accept this. It's like, okay, so you like horseshoes or you like,
Right.
crocheting or you like, this kind of food. So what? Like, people
Yeah.
will either go, that's awesome, or they'll go, that's quirky, not my thing, but cool, good for you. And for those people to go, good for you, not good for me, see ya, awesome, good.
Yep.
Like you want alignment in your circle, no matter what that is. So if you're a leader, if you're, just as a human, you want alignment with you. This goes back to taking authority in your life. So these are the leadership lessons along the way, and that's why I take you through your journey, and then it comes back to what'd you learn.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Like, this is a big deal. How long have you been running? Talk to us about that, right? So how long have you been CEO and founder of Perfect Hire, and what's next for you, either within the organization or, you know what, I'm going to take up sheep farming also, or whatever. I don't know what you're going to do, but
Yeah.
what?
Right now, right? So for Perfect Hire, we're actually launching our flagship product, the ATS Plus, October 20th. So a lot of pressure under our belt and our product team right now to get that going. So myself and my head of revenue are lining up meetings left and right now and doing demos like crazy to really get Perfect Hire off the ground. Between that, it's also the fun stresses, if any founder or leader knows, right, of fundraising. So we're actively in that process, which is no daunting feat by any means. And really, from there, we have our second product launching at the beginning of November. Since that one is already so close to production, that one's here. And then we've got two other modules that we have planned to get launched by the end of H1 of 26. So a lot of stuff for us in the pipeline at Perfect Hire. Um, no sheep farming, even though I am from Nebraska. No sheep farming. It'd be cattle ranching if we were to do any of that. But my other big passion project, which is also probably too much to bite, but I'm working with some locals here to help orchestrate and build up a new ice hockey facility here within Lincoln, Nebraska. So That is a fun community initiative that gets my mind out of the SaaS and the fund. I mean, I'm still fundraising for that one as well too, but it's a different type of fundraising, right? It's a community initiative versus a selfish product company that I'm also running there.
That's great because I will often ask about personal philosophy and or practice of giving back.
Yeah,
And this is, a lot of people think of tithing or of doing something that they have to do. And really giving back is becomes a part of who you are when it's a part of who you are, right? So it's not
right,
like I have to give. It's more like, oh, you know what? The community could really use this thing and I believe in it, and that's great, right? So you're building community involvement, you're building a stronger sense of belonging, which is huge.
right,
And I point that out because a lot of what we're passionate about often comes from the struggles we've had. So, coming through well, who am I and will people like me? And so I've got to be everybody's friend to I'm going to be me and I'm going to create this sense of belonging. And I think, it's like hockey attracts a certain kind of person. It's not for everybody.
right.
Tennis, golf, tennis, golf, weightlifting, it's not, these things are not for everybody, right? So you're creating this safe space for those that are interested to kind of grow with you. That's awesome. It's really great.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I am celebrating that. That's awesome. Excellent. Well, Matt, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you thought you would be asked, and or is there something you want to share that we haven't touched on?
I'd say the you touched on this a little bit that I will say from a leadership perspective, right? Uh you cannot do this alone. Uh
Good point. Really
I
good.
I have built up a community that has supported me, that has challenged me, that has abandoned me, and different various assets of my career. And so my advice to any single leader is build up your community. And back to when I said the point number two, right? Managing those relationships. Understanding when it's time to let go of that individual to progress yourself or project yourself a little bit forward. Find somebody that challenges you even more, somebody that you relate to, somebody that you can have in your corner as a cheerleader, as a motivator, as somebody that would always just be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, you
Hmm.
need those people. Um, but build up a strong community. Like I always tell this to people. As a tech founder who got kicked out of college and dropped out of college and did a various amounts of things to understand where I needed to be, right? I don't have a degree that's making me millions or making me thousands a year for my family. It was because I established myself around a community that uplifted me, motivated me, and drove me to move myself a little bit faster. And that's literally what has given me probably the confidence and the opportunity to be able to drive and create Perfect Hire and lead a team of 10 into this whole journey with us because there's a community behind me that is there to support me and drive us forward.
So I want to point out two things about this. One is you started out as kind of this adolescent style of pushback.
Yeah,
And so at some point, you chose to get feedback. You chose to get people who would push on you in order to support you. That is a huge leadership lesson in itself. Choose to be questioned. Choose those. That's what coaching is about, right? So, um, you can't ask a fish what water is like because the fish only knows water. And
right.
so you need the perspective of, yeah, there's another world out there. You can't ask, right? You can't see the label from inside the bottle, all the metaphors. Like that's what coaching is about. And so when you get outside perspective, someone who says, hey, tweak this even a little, everything shifts. And that's amazing. So for you to step into a place and go, I need people around me who are going to mold that, that's amazing. The other thing is you said, and I'm leading a team of 10. So my hope for you is that in a year or 2 years, that you're like, you know what? I'm comfortable with a team of 10. Or guess what? I said team of 10 back during the time that this was recorded, but we've tripled that or quadrupled that or whatever, right?
Yep.
So I think that's a fun part of the journey also, that when people throw out these little markers, right? That we're basically in Q4 of 2025 at the time of this recording, and you're saying, we're going to launch this and we're going to launch that. And it's like, yeah, you know what? A year from now, let's see how it does. Let's see how it's
Yeah.
going. Let's see how your business goes. So we as an audience get to have eyes on and cheer you on. So that's kind of exciting too. And I'm glad you brought that up. You can't do it alone,
Right.
right? That, there's no such thing as a self-made person, right? That it's like we require people around us, but not just to placate us, to actually push on us, and then be open to that. So build your community and be open to guidance. Good. What else?
Uh, I'm kind of at a loss. I mean, we covered a lot
We
around it. I
did.
mean, if
We did.
I'll make a shameless, promo. If anybody's interested
Well,
in our
well,
product,
here,
come check us out. So
yeah. So that I was just gonna ask, like, for people who are interested in connecting with Perfect Hire
yeah,
and or connecting with you, Matt Schalsey, how do they find you? Either the company or you directly? Are you open to people connecting with you on LinkedIn and such?
100%. I am a community advocate. Whether I know you or not, I typically accept you unless you're trying to sell me something. That is usually where I draw the line because I get enough of those a day already.
We all
But
do.
yeah, if you want to check out Perfect Hire, you go to getperfecthire.com. That'll get you straight into our workflows and check out the products and everything else that's in there. And then if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, for sure, Matt Schalsey, two T's, not one. And I will, Wayne, I'll give you the link to drop below as well too, so that way we can have that in the descriptions for everybody.
That's great. Yep. Mattschalsey, Matt Schalsey. So that's how you find him on LinkedIn. Getperfecthire.com. That's the company.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's
Send
been
me a
great
note.
having you.
Let's chat. Happy to always form new connections.
Fantastic. Good. Nice having you here. That's amazing. Cool. Matt Schalsey, thank you.
Thank you so much, Wayne. I appreciate it.
Okay, you have been listening to and or watching One Sharp Sword Cutting Through to What Matters Most. My guest today, Matt Schalsey with Perfect Hire, getperfecthire.com. And I am Dr. Wayne Pernell, your host, guide, and coach on this journey. We will see you here next time. Thanks for joining me.